broadcasting in AM stereo. This is News Talk Radio 1050, WEBD, New York. Now it's time for your health choices. There's more than one road to good health, and Dr. Robert Atkins can help you with the alternatives. Dr. Atkins is an internist cardiologist, a graduate of Cornell Medical College, the medical director of the Atkins Center for Complementary Medicine in New York City, and the author of several best-selling books on nutrition, including Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution, which has now been on the New York Times bestsellers list for over a year. Now, with answers to your questions about health and feeling better, here is Dr. Robert Atkins.
Greetings, friends. You know, one of the things that we will always do, not always, but very, very often, is if there is a new idea, an idea so revolutionary that we haven't thought about it, that sometimes we like to think about it right here on this broadcast. That's what's going to happen today. We're going to explore whether it's not what we eat, but how what we eat is prepared. Maybe that's the key. I was looking in a book, and I get a lot of books sent to me, and this one was entitled "We Want to Live," and the subtitle is "Out of the Grips of Disease and Death," which is the story, and then there's going to be a volume 2, Healthfully, the Facts. And I was also captured by something else that said on the title. It said, every millennium has at least one great catalyst that changes people's lives. This book is one. It reveals that people can live without disease, fear of disease, and the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bankruptcy that results from disease. Well, now, we're going to find out what that means. We are going to find out whether we believe that it's true enough that we're going to look into it farther. The author of the book is Aajonus Vonderplanitz, and he's agreed to be our guest on this program. Aajonus Vonderplanitz, welcome to Your Health Choices.
Well, thank you, Dr. Atkins. It's an honor.
Well, thank you very much. All right, let's just start with your premise. What are you telling us in this book?
Well, basically, I tell the story about how my son, who was in an automobile accident 11 years ago, he fractured his skull in 3 places, and they said that he would never come out of the coma. How I got on a plane and went back to Cincinnati, and with raw and salted butter and unheated honey, putting it under his tongue every 20 to 40 minutes, brought him out of the coma and then fed him raw meat and raw fish that I had patéed in a food processor, and fed him that, and a raw custard that I made with raw papaya, raw and salted butter, raw eggs, and unheated honey, and fed him that. And he was out of intensive care in 5 days, and in rehab 7 days after that.
But you already knew something about it from your own life experience,
yes.
Even by that time.
When I do that process in the story, I flash back on how I got through diabetes, psoriasis, angina pectoris, bursitis, and cancer of the blood and bone, multiple myeloma.
Now, you yourself didn't have the scientific background to figure this out. It was as a citizen who had a problem. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Why don't we go back to your own health problem? I guess the first clue that you got that you may have to look at food in a different way.
Well, it starts off with me being born a very sickly child. I was borderline autistic, so I really didn't communicate with other children until I was in my teens. And I was severely dyslexic to the point where if I looked at a page of print, I got vertigo. So I couldn't do anything in school, nor could I communicate well, and I was very sickly. I had a brother who beat me up about every day.
Oh, God.
I was born when he was still in diapers, and he didn't appreciate that. So I was a very abused child, and of course that kind of stress usurps your nutrients, and if you're not getting the proper foods or enough food or enough nutrients, then of course you will never heal from the stress. So by the time I was 10 years old, I had peritonitis, which is a perforated intestine. and bleeding, and most people die from it back in those days. That was in 57. And I died, and came back on the operating table.
You mean you had a real, real
clinically dead
death experience?
Right. And then by the time I was 16, I was diabetic and had angina pectoris. And by the time I was 19, I had an ulcer that became tumorous, and they performed a vagotomy pyloroplasty on me. And the incision became keloided and tumorous, so they irradiated that to eliminate that problem. But then the radiation therapy, which is pretty intense, caused multiple myeloma, which is cancer of the blood and bone. So I went through chemotherapy 3 rounds over a 3-month period, and that pretty much destroyed me, made me an invalid. I couldn't leave a restroom for 5 minutes without a diaper, and left me bald, well, with scraggly hair, and with a death sentence, a medical death sentence of about 3 months.
It certainly would seem that way, I must say. Yes.
And a fellow from a hospice, those people who love to help you, help you out while you're dying. Your last
and there was no question about that in anybody's mind that that's why you were there.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he gave me a book, I guess it was about 82 pages, on a woman who had cured herself of cancer by drinking raw fresh carrot juice. I thought, oh, how simple! Wouldn't that be wonderful and easy? But I began drinking it, and as I told you, I had severe dyslexia, and I was 21 at the time. And as I began drinking the raw carrot juice, my dyslexia subsided. And when I'd stopped drinking the carrot juice, then it would resurge again. So I discovered that the raw carrot juice had some properties. I didn't think it would reverse my cancers, and of course it didn't, but it certainly helped. And I was able to read, so I went out and bought about $110 worth of books in 1969. That was a lot of books.
Yes.
And they were all on nutrition, so I began studying nutrition. I got a tutor for 3.5 years who counseled me, who tutored me in nutrition. And I went from there. I found that raw fats were probably the most important nutrient that would cause all of my diseases to subside, because at this point I had
which raw fats, you obviously mentioned raw butter many, many times.
Yes.
Are there others that you would put in that class?
Well, where you can get them, raw cream, raw milk, avocados, raw and salted cheeses. I found that all of the animal products digested the easiest, and they worked best with my patients in reversing disease.
Now, you say patients. Now, how does it happen that you have patients?
Well, I'm a nutritionist.
You've gone on to get a degree in nutrition, then?
No, I didn't get a degree, because what they teach in school is nothing. They don't have a clue.
Okay, but anyway, you're an acting, practicing nutritionist.
Yes.
Okay.
And I found that those fats work the best, the animal product fats.
What do you believe, Aajonus, what do you believe is the reason that the fats, or what are the constituents of the raw fats that you believe give us these healing properties? And do we lose them simply by cooking them or heating them? And if so, how much heat would take away their advantage?
Okay, there's a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, yes,
I'll cover the first one.
Okay.
The properties in fats, well, you have to consider what fats do. Fats lubricate the body. They give you fuel, your greatest amount of energy, and they clean out the body. They're part of the immune system. White cells attach to toxins and remove them from the system, or dissolve them and then remove them from the system, or neutralize them and remove them from the system. So there are quite a different varieties of cholesterols that perform those activities. And if you look in the cultures who were hunters and gatherers, who had no degenerative diseases like the Eskimos, until white man brought, sugars and breads.
Right.
They didn't have an incident of cancer until 1934. And they ate 80% of their caloric intake was fat.
Yeah, mainly seals, not fish, but actually sea mammals.
Yes, and also whales.
Yeah.
Yeah. And down in Chile, there are several tribes down there. You know, people say, well, that's because they're in such cold climate. They need a lot of fat. But however, the tribes in Chile eat the same quantity, and that's to ward off the heat. So it works in both circumstances. So you have
It's a shame there aren't more primitive tribes to study, and as soon as we get a hold of them, we start feeding them candy bars and ruin everything.
Yes, and the sugars and the carbohydrates, the cooked carbohydrates, and then we have problems.
All right, but there's no question that the Eskimo data is there.
Yes.
And that is one of the scientific facts that we have to go on.
Well,
and from that, people have come to the conclusion that why don't we just take capsules with a lot of fish oil, a lot of EPA and DHA.
Well, then you'd be like Diane Cannon. You'd have to consume bottles of capsules every day. Why not just eat it, as food as it normally comes anyway? And that would be an easier way to do it, and probably a much more appetizing way if you know how to prepare your food. And you can prepare anything raw, except for breads and cakes, that you can prepare.
Which are not exactly something you should be eating anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. So,
let me finish the other questions about the fats that you had. When you heat them, you cauterize the epidermis of the fat cellular structure. It's like clay. Clay when it's wet is very malleable. Once you dry it out or fire it, it goes anywhere from brittle to extremely brittle, like glass, and it's impermeable. So the fat molecules, once you heat it above 104 degrees, it interferes with its ion exchange. By the time you hit 112 degrees, it hardly occurs at all. So if your body forms...
We're just talking about Fahrenheit, just the way it gets in Las Vegas at noon. We're talking about that.
Well, yeah, it could do that. But I found that if it's exposed to such gradual climbs, and is exposed to the direct dryness, if you contain the oxygen, it won't happen until you get up to around 122 degrees, and then it will, even if it's contained from oxygen.
So we're going to take a break in a couple of minutes. I want about 1 minute or a minute and a half devoted to what people whom you advise, what you tell them to eat.
Okay. Well, let me finish one thing. If you heat a food as well, you have quite a few varieties, like 60 varieties of lipid oxides that are formed, which are all toxic. And acids which are formed that are carcinogenic. So heating your fats is obviously not a beneficial way to handle your foods.
Well, some fats can take heating and others cannot. But you say that even when they can, it still takes away its value.
Yes, it does. I found that in my work, I've used oils that have been pressed below 96 degrees Fahrenheit because I found when they're pressed over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 96 degrees Fahrenheit, that the healing properties are reduced. You may not be able to see it, under a microscope, cellular structure change, but there's definitely a change that reduces the healing factor.
How did you determine that they didn't work or that they did work?
Because I could give a person for, let's say, several weeks a bottle that had been heated to 100 degrees.
Right.
And one that had not.
Right.
For the next 2 weeks. And they were always, and I would go back and forth with them. And always
you could clinically tell the difference, in other words, in their well-being.
Yes, you could see swelling changes. You could see tissue differentiation.
Okay.
It was very demonstrable.
All right, this is the time we'll take a break. When we come back, then we want to talk about what other people's experience has been on the programs that you've devised for them.
All right.
Right now, we're going to talk about other people. What about you, the other people? How many of you would like to know more? I'd like to ask Mr. Vonderplanitz a question about his diet, his recommendations for your diet. Great opportunity. This is something new. How many people like to deal with things that are new that you haven't heard before? We'll find out. Why don't you dial our number, 212-244-1050. Dial that number, 244-1050. Now, these messages.
New York's other news talk radio station, WEBD New York.
Every biology major knows how we get energy. It's delivered to our cells by coenzyme 1, which is NADH. NADH is the very chemical used to deliver energy to our cells, but no one ever thought that an intracellular chemical could be given by mouth and yet work the way that nature intended. But with the painstaking research that led to the development of the product called Enata, this technological miracle was accomplished. Now you can take an Enata pill and feel your fatigue lift that very day. Your muscle strength, your mood, your memory, all improve, and you seem to reverse the aging process. Enata was tested and found quite effective for Parkinson's and senile memory loss, but yet it can help anyone who wants more spark and more mental prowess. To learn more about Enata or to find a store who carries it, as we do at the Atkins Center, you can call us at 1-800-6-ATKINS. That's 1-800-6-ATKINS.
Attention ladies, take control with Soy Power and Harmonizer from Nutritional Therapeutics. Soy Power unlocks the very special nutrients from soy and blends them with essential vitamins to help you stay in natural hormonal harmony. Soy Power will help you avoid the discomfort that sometimes occurs with menopause and reproductive cycles naturally. Nutritional Therapeutics also offers Harmonizer, which includes the estrogenic herbs such as Dong Quai, black cohosh, Siberian ginseng, and echinacea, along with the same powerful blend of soy isoflavone extract and phosphoglycolipids. And what makes this product so effective is a unique tablet base called NT Factor. This provides a superior delivery system and increases the absorption dramatically.
Soy Power and Harmonizer are available at all Nutrition Warehouse locations, Wilner Chemist, Long Island Health Connection, D&E Nutrition, Everything Natural in New Jersey, and all Mrs. Green's Natural Markets, or call 1-800-982-9158.
Okay, folks, get a pencil and paper for an important phone number. I'm sure you've heard me and many other health professionals talk about the benefits of using magnets. Well, now, American Health Service is offering a line of magnetic products, including their very special magnetic mattress pad. And you can have a free catalog and an informative report just by calling 1-800-544-7521. Magnetic products may be exactly what you need. Call 1-800-544-7521. Remember, the catalog and report on the wondrous benefits of magnetic products are free. Okay, our supplement special, well, it's been going on all week and will be going on next week as well. It is the fall sale. It means that everything is on sale at some special arrangement at Complementary Formulations, which is where you get the targeted nutrition line of products. Many of them are buy one and get the second bottle half price. Some are buy one, get one free. Others are a book premium thrown in or something kind of exciting. You've just got to call and find out. You got to call and find out what you're interested in. But it is a remarkable opportunity to get your stuff done. It's a remarkable opportunity to stock up. And because we don't have these sales very often. This is how you really stock it in at a reduced price. So call the number, which is 1-800-6-ATKINS, and refer to Department 5050. And please do it. I think you'll be glad you did. All right, my guest is Aajonus Vonderplanitz. I mean, I'm not going to even tell you how to spell the whole thing, but it's I will. I think I will. The last name anyway. Vonderplanitz. The book is called We Want to Live. A colleague of mine, by the way, a medical colleague of mine, has been doing your diet, and he's very, very happy about it. So that sort of motivated me to want to know what exactly is the program that you recommend. So.
Well, I recommend eating, like I said, tremendous amounts of raw fats and raw meat, at least in equal portions, raw meat to raw fat. I do recommend eating more fats if somebody is very ill, because fats clean out the system, they lubricate the system, they protect the system, and they give you your best energy. It's like, the weightlifters, they're all fat. Bodybuilders are very muscular and very defined. They don't have fat. But your weightlifters and wrestlers are all fat because it gives them a tremendous amount of energy. Now, I recommend that for supplements, instead of supplements, that people, my clients and everyone, drink raw vegetable juices, with carrot juice being no more than 40% of the juice.
Now, why do you place the limit? Because of the sugar in it.
Correct.
So you are pretty mindful of the harmful possibilities that come from sugar.
Absolutely. It melts tissue. It creates cancerous conditions. All kinds of
all right, let's just say we have a sedentary business person, 60-year-old man, hasn't come down with anything, seems to be in ordinary health, but has a tendency to just about everything, a tendency to high cholesterol and high blood pressure and a tendency to arthritis, but nothing really unusual, and a family history of everything. What would you tell him? Run through a typical day if he were your client, what he would have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks.
Well, what I'd have for breakfast is half of a pink grapefruit or a white grapefruit, but preferably pink grapefruit. That lowers the blood pressure naturally.
Has lycopene in it, too.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
So that handles the blood pressure most of the time. Sometimes it takes more. Sometimes it takes more than just half of a grapefruit. Sometimes it takes a whole grapefruit.
Well, is that enough to hold a person? I mean, just that one little thing for breakfast?
Well, no. I suggest that someone eat some raw fat with it. I suggest that he would eat, like raw unsalted cheese, avocado, raw cream if it were possible.
Right. Okay. Now, that should hold until lunch?
Well, not necessarily.
So what are the daytime snacks? A lot. Yeah, what snacks do you recommend?
I recommend anything like if someone got some raw cold-pressed peanut oil. There are several brands, but only one that I know of that you can get in New York, which is Spectrum Natural, and you can mix that with like raw carrot powder and an unheated honey. Now, unheated honey is not supposed to be raised over beehive temperature on a hot day, which is about 100 degrees.
Well, now that's going to have some of the problems with sugar. Do you place a limitation on the honey?
Well, I found that it doesn't. I found that in the lab experiences that I had done to investigate that, because of all the healings that were done in Central America and South America, I had to assume that it didn't occur with unheated honey. And it didn't. Only 10% went into blood sugar, into an actual glycogen substance. The rest was converted into enzymes utilized as protein catalysts. So I was very impressed by it, and healing, it does speed up healing. So I found that people, even diabetics, can use it because it doesn't require insulin to utilize it. People can eat up to, half a cup a day without any sugar problem.
Wow,
so I would have some kind of fat snack, let's say some raw carrot powder blended with the peanut oil.
Now, you didn't mention anything about eggs, which would be a natural breakfast thing. Yeah.
Excellent fat. Now, I found in my work that it doesn't really help regeneration of tissue, but it aids greatly in the detoxification of even drugs that somebody might have taken, or whether they're medical or recreation. But they help eliminate toxins wonderfully.
Okay, we're going to take calls in just a couple minutes. I got one more question that needs to be dealt with, and that's with everybody being concerned about the purity of meats or the bacteria that are in the chicken and the meat supply and in everything else. And meanwhile, we're now recommending that we don't even bother to cook it and do the one thing for which the cooking of meat and fowl and fish were really probably done. Probably originally were probably done more for some desire to remove impurities than for the taste reasons. How do we get around that? How does your system avoid that?
Well, I think it's called medical, and scientific terrorism, because the bacteriophobia and the parasitical phobias that exist, I haven't found to have any basis.
In other words, you don't even have to tell them where the meat or the butter or the eggs come from. You don't have to say it's important that it be organically grown or organically raised.
Yes, I find that if there are hormones and antibiotics in it, then it can create an anemic animal. And of course, there are side effects from those kind of hormones that transfer into the body.
So you're more concerned with the hormones,
not the bacteria. The bacteria is not a problem. Take for example the Eskimos, and I tried some. They take caribou and they beat it into a mince, and then they roll it in either seal or whale blubber, and they bury it about 6 inches under the ground, and when it smells for a half a mile, it's ready. The bacteria in that is enough, according to science and medicine, to kill about 5 herds of elephants.
Wow.
I didn't even get diarrhea from it. Now, I had my vagus nerve severed to my stomach when they performed the vagotomy pyloroplasty on me for the stomach ulcer and tumor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the category, according to science and medicine again, of people in their 80s and 90s who have no hydrochloric acid to destroy bacteria and parasites as they enter the body, of death. And I have been eating raw meat and raw fish and raw chicken, and sometimes very ripe and rotten, since 1976, and never have had a problem. So, and I've had over 3,000 clients who have eaten raw meat on a regular basis, and some of it very
How many
ripe,
of your
very
clients
rotten.
have a problem with the enjoyment of the food? People who are accustomed to going to a steakhouse and getting their steak that way, or getting a rack of lamb at a French restaurant. How many of them have sort of had a problem adapting to the idea that everything is uncooked?
Well, it takes about 30 days for your taste buds to change. It's mainly the salt restriction from salt will change that. It will boost your taste buds. So the food is all very rich. Now, most people spice cooked foods because once you cook it, the flavor is gone. They have to change it because it's very flat. However, in raw foods, if you chew it 100 times, 500 times, it's going to have the same flavor. When you're chewing something cooked, after about 5 or 7 chews, the taste is pretty gone.
So people can adapt to really it's a whole new taste sensation. Right?
Correct.
Okay, very interesting. We're ready to take calls when we come back. If you want to be a part of the program and ask Mr. Vonderplanitz one of your questions instead of one of mine, then this is the number, 212-244-1050. Now these messages. Friends, I've got news so exciting, you're all going to want to go on the Atkins diet just for the deliciousness of it. I have made available to all my listeners 3 spectacularly enjoyable, ultra-low carbohydrate food products that taste better than the high-carb delicacies that they surpass. Number 1, the Atkins Advantage Bar, a chocolate-covered, nut-flavored, vitanutrient-rich meal replacement with less than 3 grams of carbohydrate per delicious food bar, 83% fewer carbs than all competing brands. Lipolesia, number 2, the chocolate and vanilla-flavored nutritious drinks with less than 3 grams of carbs designed to stop your sweet cravings in an instant. Number 3, the Atkins Bake Mix, your way to create pancakes, waffles, muffins, and bread with less than 1 gram of carbohydrate per portion. To learn how these products can be delivered to you, call 1-800-6-ATKINS. That's 1-800-6-ATKINS and ask for Department 60.
WEVD, New York.
This program is sponsored in part by Diagnostic Specialty Laboratory, a licensed lab specializing in parasite testing and diagnostic immunology. Dedicated to the needs of complementary medicine, Diagnostic Specialty Lab's medical director is a board-certified pathologist who, with a staff of highly trained specialists, incorporates state-of-the-art equipment to deliver the highest quality and widest variety of tests available. Located in Rockland County, Diagnostic Specialty Labs is at your physician's doorstep with convenient daily couriers all over the tri-state area. For the most sensitive and accurate tests that cater to the needs of complementary medicine, Diagnostic Specialty Labs is the best choice. In the final analysis, you can depend on our results. Call Diagnostic Specialty Labs or have your physician contact us directly at 914-639-6600. That's 914-639-6600.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Atkins, Medical Director of the Atkins Center for Complementary Medicine. The news is full of information on many cutting-edge treatments like DHEA and melatonin. But at the Atkins Center, we've been using treatments like these for years and with outstanding results. When you read about alternative treatments for cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, who do you think was doing it successfully for over a decade? The Atkins Center for Complementary Medicine. We incorporate the safest and most effective treatments from all the healing arts. This means that instead of pulling out a prescription pad, our doctors develop a personalized treatment plan that includes dietary change, nutrients, and herbs. By using a natural approach, you're spared from the harmful side effects of pharmaceuticals, and your own body is a part of the healing process. Our results are dramatic. To find out more about the Atkins Center, call us right now at 212-758-2110 and ask for the new patient department. That's 212-758-2110, and the extension is 264. Okay, I want to tell you about the other numbers. First of all, to get the Atkins Center, it's toll-free. It's 888-ATKINS-8. And then I want to tell you about the newsletter. If you'd like to subscribe, and if you wonder why you should like to subscribe, that's all you have to do. Just wonder. And then call this 800 number, 981-7162. I think once you talk to people, you'll find out why. It is the number one newsletter in health from the standpoint of what's called the combined renewal rate, which means there are more people that just want to continue to subscribe to this than any other. And I think you'll see why. So the number is 800-981-7162. My guest is Aajonus Vonderplanitz. He's written an important book, an exciting book. It's called We Want to Live, and it's going to give you information on the subjects that we've been talking about here, along with the story of how it came about and some case histories. Aajonus, how many case histories do you allude to in this book?
There are probably only about 15 that I give some kind of a clear picture.
But then you've got another
the results in the remedy section of the book, which is volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 volumes in one book. Well, I wanted to say, Dr. Atkins, that if somebody wants to get it in their local bookstores and have it, they can go ahead and order it through the local bookstore or call 1-888-777-7930, and the publisher can get it to them quickly.
So it's 888 and then 4 sevens and then 930.
Correct.
Okay, that's a strong hand.
Isn't it wonderful?
Okay, well, let's talk with Ed. Ed, you're on Your Health Choices.
Hi, thank you. Am I
Yeah,
on
you sure are.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Ed.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. My father had accidentally discovered he had a large tumor on one of his kidneys about 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
They took his kidney out at Sloan Kettering, and he was followed up by an oncologist here on Long Island. The oncologist noticed he had high blood protein and suspected myeloma, did tests, and he was monitoring this, quote, indolent myeloma for about 1.5 years. Recently, my father had some high calcium, so right away this oncologist put him on chemotherapy.
Right.
And it's not helping his high calcium at all.
Of course not.
We're worried about him, of course. I wanted to know what you would recommend for my father at this time as far as, your theory goes.
Well, I've had 7 multiple myeloma clients that have been on the diet for over 5 years, and they're completely in remission.
Really?
And remain there. Let me give you an example. There's
Excuse me, I'm going to hang up because I've been on the call phone for a while. It's getting red hot. I'm going to listen on the radio, okay?
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Okay.
There's a woman who called me from the Issels-Gershon Clinic who had multiple myeloma. And for those who don't know what multiple myeloma is, it's cancer of the blood and bone, and only 1% of those who have it survive over 2 years. And they sent her home to die because she wasn't responding, and she was getting transfusions twice a week. I put her on a diet of eating raw beef, raw fish, and a little raw chicken 5 times a day, 2 to 3 ounces at a time. She would have to have the fish, 1 ounce of fish, or 1.5 ounce of fish, and 1.5 ounce of beef, 2 times of those 5 times a day. Raw beef, 2 of those 5 times a day, and raw chicken, one of those 5 times a day. And in 3 months, her blood was normal.
Was there anything else, or was the diet all these meat dishes? Was there any plant product in her diet? Or?
Well, I have her drinking 32 ounces of juice a day, 20% of it being parsley, 40% of it being celery, and 40% of it being carrot.
Now, why did you pick on that? See, this is now you got a lot of specifics that are above and beyond just the principle of raw foods.
Yes.
What made you decide what the specific?
Because of the high quantity of chlorophyll in the parsley, it allows the blood to carry oxygen easier.
Right.
And, of course, utilize, the sun's rays and vitamin D.
Now, are these things that you learned by trial and error?
Yes.
In other words, you had to sort of feel your way through all this.
Yes.
If that same person had come to you at the beginning, it wouldn't have been so specific? Is this what you're saying?
Well, yes. I mean, there were so many things I tried over the years. It took me 13 years to figure out all of this.
And basically, just based on empiricism, what worked you kept, and what didn't work you modified.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, very interesting. And now we're going to talk with Dorothy. Dorothy, you're on Your Health Choices.
Yes, hi. I was inquiring. I have 11-year-olds with developmental problems, and I was wondering whether you treated any children, and also how you managed to get them to eat this kind of food if you have to eat them.
It's funny, children eat it a lot. It's easier to get them to eat it than anyone else.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think I'm not a child anymore, yeah.
The sound was cutting out, so I couldn't hear what the child has.
Well, developmental problems, speech and language, fine motor, sensitive hearing.
Yes, well, that's pretty easy. If you can give them, raw vegetable juice with lots of carrot in it. Now, in children, the sugar content is a little bit easier because they burn so much. And usually for a child and mental development problems, raw fats with the juices are very important. If you're a place where you can, go to an Amish or a Mennonite farm and get the raw milk, the raw cream, and raw unsalted butter, it makes progress very, very rapid.
Have you treated any children?
Yes.
And with what kind of results, and how soon did
all completely successful. My results have been 95%, and no matter what it is. Alzheimer's in 3rd and 4th stage, I can get the body to be very young and youthful, but I can't seem to reverse the damage in the brain. And balding is one that's difficult for me.
Is there a way I can speak to you on the phone?
Yes, if you call 310-226-7055 and leave a message, my office will get back to you and set up a time to call.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy.
Now, Aajonus, this question now. Suppose a person simply wants to be healthier and wants to partake of the program, but it really doesn't want to not go to restaurants. So would there be any benefit, let's say, in following your program 4 or 5 days a week and having 2 days where restaurant food was consumed, assuming that it was the same type of food with meats and fish and chicken and vegetables that just happen to be cooked?
Well, anything you do is going to be an improvement. Let me give you an example. I always use New York City as my example because it's an old city. And there's repairs that need to be done, there's cleaning that needs to be done, there's gutting, and there's rebuilding, remodeling that needs to be done. Well, basically, a body is the same way when you fed it cooked foods for a lifetime. If you eat raw foods, it's like hiring millions of helpers to do all the work. If you cook it, it's like destroying all of your helpers, and you have to do it all on your own. Your body has to convert its hormones and leach its enzymes to supplement what you've destroyed in the cooking process and the toxicity that's formed in the cooking process.
Have you found that there are people who are trying to get you to say that? To say, why don't I follow your diet just 4 days a week and then eat what I normally eat the other 3 days?
Well, I have people that do that who have no real illness. But those who have illness are committed to getting rid of it.
I can understand that. And but what about it? What in the group that are just in ordinary health trying to get better? Do they get better?
Order steak tartare or carpaccio, and that's raw meat.
Yeah, I know that.
Order sashimi and
I know that.
ceviche. All those are raw. That's raw meat.
Yeah, well, certainly do a lot of those. I can see that. And then, of course, yeah, I think it's, it's in a direction that I was moving without having read your book. As far as the cancer patients, I try to get them to do as much of that and make sure that the vegetables are basically uncooked. Now, what about just steaming vegetables? Does that change much?
That alters. It still creates a crystallization of the fats over a period of years. And that leads toward Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and other kinds of...
Now, then there are certain vegetables, such as the lentils, the baked beans, and something which are really, really very hard to eat uncooked.
They're impossible unless you're a vegetarian animal. Many vegetarian animals won't eat many of them.
So you just leave them out. That's correct. That's something that isn't in your diet.
It's not for a human, really.
Okay. All right. We talk now with Marcia. Marcia, you're on Your Health Choices.
I just learned that I have hardening the carotid artery. I'm in my late 70s. Pretty good otherwise.
So we're talking about atherosclerosis. Aajonus, what do you have to say about this most widespread of all degenerative diseases?
Okay, as I said, the reason we have that is because we're eating lots of cooked fats, and the molecule cauterizes so it does not exchange ions. So over a period of 40, 50, 60 years, when an artery or any part of the body has been lubricated with one of these types of lipids, it dries out and hardens and cracks over the years. So the only way I've found to be able to reverse that condition is eating the exact same thing, lots of it, that hasn't been cooked. So lots of raw fats. Olive oil is a good remover of that kind of a fat. Good stone-pressed olive oil.
Yeah.
Peanut oil, raw and salted butter, raw and salted cheeses, raw eggs are wonderful to do that.
Organic, I imagine.
That's preferable always.
Yeah. Raw eggs, olive oil, peanut oil. But to what? In what degrees?
Fresh coconut's wonderful for that also.
Coconut?
Cooked fresh coconut.
Cooked fresh coconut.
And avocado.
And avocado, which I do have, yeah. But how much oil does one take in?
I would consume as much as you can eat.
By the teaspoon? By the glassful?
I'd say by the, ounces full.
Ounces full?
Yes. If I have a client like that, I have them consume at least a cup of fat a day.
A couple of what?
Cup of fat. Cup of raw fat a day.
How about the omega-3 oils?
They're pretty good. It's a little astringent in some situations because it cleans a little too fast and it can cause nausea and some aches and pains in the joints.
And that's it.
But the saturated animal fats seem to do it with more comfort.
Depending upon the degree of the deterioration, how long should this regimen take to show signs?
A lifetime.
A lifetime.
Oh, no, it'll take a lifetime.
Before you begin to see this sign.
And before I begin to see it now?
Oh, usually it's about 10 days.
10 days?
10 to 30 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Okay, we're going to take some more messages and then more calls at 212-244-1050. Now, these messages.
The home of New York's talk radio all-stars, WEBD 1050 News Talk, New York.
The Atkins diet becomes perfect when you can have your cake and eat it too. Because of that, I have developed the only Dr. Atkins low-carbohydrate cheesecake in the world. With only 3 grams of carbohydrate per serving, this delectable cheesecake is the perfect dessert or snack for the low-carbohydrate dieter. Rich and creamy, my cheesecake is made from carefully selected cream cheese, fresh eggs, vanilla, and real sour cream. I'll match it for taste against the best sugar-laden cheesecakes in the country. And because I developed it, you can be sure that this cheesecake meets all of my rigorous demands. Don't take a chance with imitator cheesecakes that could ruin your diet. Make sure you have the official Dr. Atkins low-carbohydrate cheesecake. Look for my signature right on the label. Call now for the stores nearest you or to find out about home delivery. Call toll-free 1-888-Dr. Atkins. That's 1-888-DR-ATKINS.
You've probably been hearing a lot about a new super antioxidant called Activin. A new university study has shown that Activin is many times more potent than vitamin C, E, and beta-carotene. For years, scientists have known that people who consume moderate amounts of red wine have less heart disease than those who do not, a phenomenon known as the French paradox. But new research suggests that it's not the wine, but the biologically active flavonoids in the grape itself that promotes good health. Activin is a pure and all-natural extract from red grape seeds that delivers the power of these flavonoids without the alcohol. Activin promises to be the next generation of antioxidants. It is a nutritional ingredient, not a drug, and is currently available in a variety of dietary supplements. You can purchase Activin by calling 1-800-628-5467. That's 1-800-628-5467.
Okay, the specials. The specials are just about everything you can get at the Targeted Nutrition line. It's at some kind of a deal. It's our fall sale. That's why. So to order, call toll-free 1-800-628-5467, which is 1-800-6-ATKINS. This is for people that have numbers and don't have the letters. I guess a lot of you are still bouncing around. This is the way it punches out. 1-800-628-5467. That's 1-800-6-ATKINS, okay? And ask for Department 50, and you're in. And you can stock up for the rest of the who knows how long. Plenty long. Okay. My guest is Aajonus Vonderplanitz. He's written the book We Want to Live. This is a very exciting book, and one of the things, I guess, as you go through the medical literature, nobody's thought of this idea. So none of the research, none of the epidemiology talks about whether people who eat raw foods do better than people who eat cooked foods. I'm almost certain of that. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true. The people who mainly eat raw foods are vegetarians and fruitarians, and they have a lot of degeneration because of the high carbohydrates.
Right.
So they aren't necessarily...
So they're really not on your diet, which is basically a high-fat...
high-fat, high-meat diet, yes.
Yeah, so basically no one could do a comparative study except to look at cultures that are so far out of Western civilization that you can think of 100 reasons why they're different from France or the United States or whatever.
Correct.
So how are we going to get some proof? You got anything in mind that could be done? Can you get somebody to do a study? How are we going to get the public that demands some sort of proof to believe it?
Right now it's being done. There's studies going on. I have researchers doing it right there at the New York City Medical University Center there. There's a biochemist which is researching and studying it now. There are quite a few people who are following it and following some of
So do you think one day there'll be something published on it?
Correct.
I mean, in the scientific journal?
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. Anyway, you guys who listen have a chance to get involved in it sooner. What about, do you think people should just try the diet for a week or so just to see what happens, just to see how they like it? I'm talking about the healthy group.
Yeah, even the sick group.
The sick group, they have to. The sick group is not negotiable. I mean, if you're sick and this can help you, how can it be negotiable?
I agree. And the volume 2 of the book, in the remedy section, there are several thousands of remedies for several hundred diseases. So, like the woman who just called with atherosclerosis, there's a section on that in there.
Mm-hmm.
I give.
Oh yeah, I'm going to sit home with the book tonight and finish it. Let's talk with Charles. Charles, you're on Your Health Choices.
Okay, I want to go back to the question. I'm not really quite convinced. I don't feel confident enough to eat raw meat because of my fear of bacteria, salmonella, and such. I mean, we've heard about this for so long about how to prepare meat, to cook it thoroughly, and now to talk about just eating meat raw. It's kind of.
Well, let me give you an example, Charles.
Okay.
If you saw a carcass out in the desert being eaten by the vultures and the crows and the worms, do you blame the vultures, the crows, and the worms for the carcass that exists?
No.
That they eat? Well, bacteria is the same way. It exists in an environment of decaying flesh, decaying tissue.
Okay.
What causes the decaying tissue? It's cooked foods, it's poisons, it's chemicals of some kind. Now, according to what I understand of the Jack in the Box incidents, where it was something like 125 people were affected, it wasn't the E. coli. The E. coli is present in the existence of decay. There was some kind of a cleaning solution that obviously existed in the grinder or on the conveyor belt that wasn't rinsed properly, and it poisoned some tissue in these people. And of course, E. coli becomes present in that condition, but it is not what killed those people or made them ill.
What was your reaction to the story on mad cow disease?
Well, that's a problem. When you're cooking, cow itself, byproducts of cow, and you're cooking at high temperatures, you've got a lot of lipid oxides and other kinds of toxins that are formed. And, of course, it's poison when you feed the animal that.
So you think those people could have eaten that contaminated meat raw? They would have been better off? Is this what you're saying?
Yes, I did it. When I was in France, I was eating out of Carrefour there. That's a food market. Meat that had been purchased from England that was mad cow. And I ate it raw and had no real reaction.
I mean, but they wouldn't have allowed it on the market if they knew it was contaminated. It's just it was in a group that was suspect, right?
Right. Well, I ate it before they found out about it. I've been going to France several times a year for about 4 years. So I was.
Well, I'm going to start with steak tartare tonight. I'm telling you right now. We'll start with steak tartare. That I'll do with my raw butter. That I'll do right away because I like that stuff.
My lab technician who did some research for me, he found that in the raw meat, any animal who has eaten a toxin will store it in, of course, the fat system, and your glands are like 80 to 85% fat. So your greatest concentration of toxins are in the glands and in the bone marrow.
Now, do you think there's any advantage to the person, let's say, who does go to a steakhouse and says, well, I'm going to order it medium rare or blood rare rather than medium or well done? Is there any advantage to a person doing that?
Yes, it is, but still, you're creating a great deal of lipid oxides within a greater percentage of it. So the nutrients that you get in the half that isn't cooked will be utilized in neutralizing the toxins that you've created.
Yeah, but I can tell you right now, there'll probably be about 500 of my listeners right now that tonight will go and order their steak about 2 notches rarer than they would have ordered it otherwise.
I would say that's still better.
Okay, so that's well. Anyway, gang, you know what to do.
Do you know what I do?
Blood rare.
Dr. Atkins, I go into a restaurant and I say, give me a cold steak on a cold plate.
Oh, the plate shouldn't even be. Oh my God.
Well, they'll usually heat the plate up to about 400 degrees, and then they'll serve it, on a wooden platter, so it doesn't burn the waiter.
I see. Okay. All right, let's see how many more calls we can take. We got the switchboard's completely filled.
Okay.
Talk with Ed, line 4. Ed, you're on Your Health Choices.
Yes, thanks for taking my call, Dr. Atkins. I have a question for you and your guest. What about the so-called superfoods, things like green stuff, red stuff?
What's green stuff and red stuff? You mean like green algae and red what? I don't know what red stuff is.
I was going to say, you see different products. They're usually a powdered product in a health food store that is a concentrate from a lot of different...
In other words, freeze-dried vegetables.
Freeze-dried vegetables or fruits, that type of thing that you can then put into...
Okay, good question. What about that kind of processing? What if suppose the processing is freeze-drying?
Well, I found that anytime you dehydrate something, you're neutralizing a great deal of the co-workers that are involved in utilizing every nutrient within the food.
So you lose an awful lot in that translation.
You lose a great deal. Now, someone who's on a completely cooked, high-fat diet or high-carbohydrate diet may be benefited by that kind of supplement, but it's certainly not...
Okay, time for one quick call. Abner, you're on Your Health Choice.
Yes, hello?
Yeah.
Yes, it's an honor to speak with you, gentlemen. How about eating raw nuts?
Okay, good question. Answer.
Well, I found that most people don't utilize very much of it. It's mainly used as a starch. The starch level goes very high. The fat level is good, but the protein doesn't seem to be utilizable.
But you mentioned about peanut butter, right? You mentioned about some nut butters that you would do?
Well, nut oil.
Nut oil.
Yeah.
Peanut oil.
Pressed below 96 degrees.
So you think the nut carries some undigestible starch along with it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
They're rather difficult to digest. If a person's been on a raw diet for a couple of years, then they could utilize more of it, of course.
Okay, so there's an answer there. It says same principle. Well, I think it's fascinating. The book is We Want to Live by Aajonus Vonderplanitz. And where can they get the book? Let's say they go to the bookstore and the bookstore says, well, yeah, we heard about it, we don't have it. So
well, they can order it through the bookstore and wait a couple of weeks, or they can go to any bookstore and order it.
That we know. And what about getting it quicker?
They can call 1-888-777-7930.
Okay. Thanks for being a part of our program. We're going to have you back as soon as people start calling me, telling me they've been on your program, and I want to get some feedback on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Your Health Choices is brought to you by the Atkins Center for Complementary Medicine right here in Manhattan. Our phone number is 888-ATKINS-8. The producer is Jackie Rudin, and I'm Dr. Robert Atkins. This is Your Health Choices.